Hello, everybody, and welcome to the mini-series finale of Scheduling Conflicts Presents Summer Camp Slasher. You watched episode 1, The Drowning of Victor Miller, touched by our hero's need to try to save these poor teens. Then you watched a surprising degree of competence and skill in episode 2, Party Foul, where the party expertly kept the kids out of the water, quickly located the body of Robert, whatever his last name is, that was a week ago, and began to track the footprints of Ed Green off into the distance. Following those footsteps of Ed Green through the sort of winding forest, they found themselves at the gaping mouth of the Centennial Tunnel, the train tunnel that brought the railroad to this town. Clark, Michael's character's family, built this tunnel. 100 years ago, tomorrow, it was finished. Quite the thing. To recap our larger adventure as quickly and concisely as I can, Spencer playing Brett Andrews and, not Tyler. Yes, Tyler, who unfortunately could not make it, playing his cousin?
Yes.
Xavier Dragomir, although there was a joke running that his real name was Alex, delved into the initial mystery, the drowning of Victor Miller. They found this boy who is upside down in the water, dragged him onto land, did magical CPR, saved his life, got him to the infirmary, only for him to mysteriously still be drowning, as if his lungs continued to fill with water on dry land. There, Clark's father, Elias Findale, rolled up, mayor of town, and told everybody, as far as anyone knows, this was an accident. Tomorrow matters for this town, and it matters for this camp. Everybody keep it quiet. You all left with some tension brewing between Brett Andrews and his nemesis. What's your nemesis's name? Pop off that really quick.
Yeah, for sure. My nemesis
Clayton Duggins.
Yeah, Clayton Duggins right there.
Clayton Duggins. After a couple of fights and altercations, we basically cut to episode 2 on a dramatic scene where Brett grabs a .22 pistol and tucks it in the back of his pants. Tyler got 6, so number 2 opens up with Xavier Dragomir going to jail. He got arrested because of some shenanigans on the part of Clayton Duggins. We go to the party where Branch is keeping people out of the water, but has a close call when he swears he feels something grab him by the ankle as he slips and then pulls himself back up out of the water. At that same time, Clark is fanning the flames of the party, encouraging a random karate kid to do a backflip over a bonfire, which somehow he pulls off, turning the whole thing into a huge rager, while Brett Andrews, scrambling over a hill, finds Robert's dead body. Sliding into the blood, knowing that he's already, maybe not a suspect, but on the watch list for what happened to Victor Miller, Brett knows he cannot be associated, circles back with the group and sends Branch to investigate. Branch, a seasoned tracker, picks up on that trail, while Clark gets everybody even drunker to try to keep them off the lake. If you're too drunk to canoe, you're not gonna. Brett, thinking even that might not be enough, grabs all the oars from the boats together, chains them up with weights, and tosses them into the lake. When suddenly, he falls in and feels a hand reach out and pull him down into the water. Fighting to the surface, he turns to see nothing at all. He straps one last oar, tying it underneath the dock to make sure that you can at least have one way out if you need one. Also on the way out, he notices the 76 Firebird keys are in the glove compartment. Files that away in the old brain, because we do have some drivers in the party. And everybody goes in pursuit of Ed. Now, what the audience couldn't have anticipated, what I didn't anticipate, is the wonderful Nick here with us will be playing Ed Green. All of a sudden, this wordless red shirt, who is almost certainly about to be killed, has a chance at life now that he is a real person and therefore matters in the plot. Ed Green, just a few hours earlier, had run off into the forest, escaping this strange spectral figure that now prepares to assault Hubert and Ed. Seeing the death of his best friend, Ed runs off, eventually running into the tunnel. Getting a short distance down, keeping his hand on the wall, he feels the rungs of a ladder and climbs up through a narrow vent into a ventilation shaft. These incredibly difficult to drill shafts that connect train tunnels to the tops of the mountains that they carve through to let exhaust escape and new air come in to keep the tunnel from, becoming truly unlivable. As the group ends down there, Brett starts the generator. Let's not forget that there's light in this tunnel. And being the smallest of the party, Branch climbs up through that vent, helps Ed out of a bad situation, his left arm pinned under a stone, only for Ed to look behind him and see that same thing that killed Rob. He looks and he sees a spectral figure, like some kind of... We only got a sort of brief look, an older man, maybe, as if distorted by water, barely visible in traces of moonlight, clutching a pickaxe that was moments ago stuck into the wall, completely soaked, the handle so waterlogged that it was dripping with water. Importantly, in the moments before that, Branch saw a vision of the shaft filling with water, only for it to turn out to be just that, just a vision, which is doubly important because Brett Andrews, flipping through Xavier Dragomir's journal, kept seeing references to a spirit, a specter called the Drowned, a vengeful spirit of those who drowned in violence. Oh my goodness. I think that was everything. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a list. I'm going to say it once now and once at the end. Hopefully chat can hear it. It's a little quiet to my ears, so I might have to turn it up. The music today is written on a note card in front of me somewhere. Here it is by White Bat Audio on YouTube. This is the John Carpenter Retro Synth Mix. I'm a pretty big fan. We've used it for some horror adventures before. I am positive that we will use it again. So take a look there. I am not affiliated with them in any way, so if it turns out that they're weird, don't talk to me about it. I don't know. All right. Are we ready to get started?
Ready.
I'm sweating from remembering all of that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Our camera, I think, sweeps in. I'll ask you guys, is this like really quick shaky cam, or is this like slow-mo sweeps? What's the vibe of what's the budget like on this third episode? Are they running low, or did they save the budget for the third episode?
I'm imagining one of those like old-timey cams with like where you can see like the grain and errors on the film because we have this like old possibly old-timey ghost like that's about to attack us.
It's quick cuts, but it's from a regular 360 cam on Clark and Brett to the old-timey one on Ed Green and Branch. So it cuts back and forth.
So we see this steady, more sleek version of the footage. We cut in, I think I know what we cut in on, the furious sounds of the flipping of pages. We scoop over Brett Andrews' shoulder. The last thing we closed on was him finally giving in that there was something going on here and opening Xavier's book, flipping through the pages as quickly as he possibly could. We see those pages tearing by in clear picture. We see that at the same time that Clark, golf club in hand, is yelling up to where we know Branch and Ed are, trying to figure out what it is exactly that's going on. At that same time, we cut up, but this time we're on a like Super 8 film camera, very grainy film, very low rate. We watch this scene as Branch, you're stepping back. Ed, your arm still bleeding, but now somewhat staunched. You are down on the ground. That rock, thankfully, didn't block the exit, but you are both now stuck in this ventilation shaft with this thing. You can barely make it out. Like you're seeing the ripples on water, and it only exists when that light casts against it, Branch. You are occasionally seeing wavering features of an aged, wizened man's face. Simple, bare clothing, a pair of overalls over a stiff, canvassy cotton shirt, that pickaxe clutched firmly in the right hand, staring at you. We catch a moment of eerie silence. What do you do?
Hey there, are you just kind of clocking into work now, or are you done with your shift and clocking out? As I'm like slowly sliding my feet backwards away from him.
You slowly back up, making contact with this monster, one arm extended out behind you.
And I guess the other one with the flashlight in front of me.
Are you just trying to engage in the scene, or do you have a goal with this? Are you trying to talk this thing down?
Yeah, I think it says that you can't really. I guess it's up to DM discretion as far as like
So
charm
I'll
on
absolutely.
fun, but I'm just seeing like if there's like reaction maybe.
You cannot manipulate a monster, but what you can do is one of two things. You are either acting under pressure to get yourself out of the immediate danger, or you are protecting someone to give Ed a chance to climb down the ladder. Is Branch trying to protect himself, or is he trying to protect Ed?
I think protect Ed because he's like he came up here to try to like get Ed out of here, so he's like I gotta see this through.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
So in that case, roll to protect someone, which in this case would be plus tough unless you have some ability that changes what you roll.
No, that unfortunately is my worst stat for this, but what's fitting for him? So that's a 7.
Absolutely. So that's kind of perfect for this. You protect them, but you suffer all harm or danger that was going to head their way. The more injured Ed crawling on the ground, you say this pivoting away from where Ed is going into that vent, and this thing springs into unearthly action. It lunges forward with a spectral hand, grabbing at your neck, your shirt, your shoulders, the other hand rearing back with the pick to strike out at you. As it grabs you and slams you into the wall, you are like pinned suddenly as this pick is about to come down on you. With that mixed result, you have pulled all of the danger of this situation onto yourself. Ed, you have a perfect opening to escape. Do you take it? That's you, Nick. New character blues, am I right, guys?
I know.
That was a Theros classic, with Spencer being like, Big Looby Borp, what do you do? And 5 people going,
Who the hell's Bagooby Gorb?
what?
Yep.
The number of times I forgot that I was Ron.
It was that it was Ron, and you also were Eris.
And you know
so
what?
It was like,
How about? I'm gonna help out.
You're going to help out. Great. So because you are the mundane, you took the power of heart. So because your friend is in combat with a monster, you don't have to roll. Tell me how Ed Green helps Branch in this situation.
So Ed Green comes out of freaking nowhere, goes sliding in between the legs, grabs. What was it? Grabs Branch by the throat by accident. He was trying to grab him by the shoulder, but gets him in a throat hole and then just brings him to the ground.
So just as this pick rears back and is about to
He
swing
slides
down on
in.
you, you see Ed Green, who canonically played baseball, so this is hilarious, slide under the legs of the ghost, reach up, grab you, and slam you down to the ground. Just as this pick whing sticks a good couple of inches deep into the wall. With that help out 10 plus, no matter what, Branch, you have a +1 on whatever you do next to try to survive this increasingly dangerous situation.
Yep.
As that pick sticks in the wall, and Branch, you fall off your balance a little bit. Do you have something you want to do right in this moment?
I think, I guess probably try to use magic to like kind of connect with the like, kind of like since his, I guess his connection to magic are like the pathways and routes of all the hiking trails, kind of projecting that into the flashlight he has and like the route of the energy in it to try to like amplify the beam.
Yeah, so you're trying
try to ward this
to
thing away.
what's that video game series that's in the same world as Control? Where he's got
Is it
is it Alan Wake?
Alan Wake, yeah.
I was
Um,
I was gonna do Let's Get Out of Here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so I think
That's
we're gonna do sort of two things really quickly back to back here. First, Branch, really good way to make use magic really interesting. From the outside, all we see is you swing this flashlight, but there is a little bit of an unearthly, this is the kind of thing that Branch has this sort of sympathetic connection to. You have this flashlight, and I don't know if any of you, this wings off of a joke we said last time. If any of you go buy an old mag light and click it on and leave it for 14 seconds, you could cook an egg on those things. You feeling this channel, this moment, and roll plus weird to try to get something done here. And you have that +1 from Ed.
All right. Well, including the +1, I got a 13.
Power overwhelming. You lift 6 inches off the ground. You're no, I'm kidding. Yeah. So looking at this list on a 10+, the magic works without issue. Choose your effect without needing to let me look at the glitch list. I inflict harm. It might be, but if I'm looking down to trap a specific minion or monster, I think that might be what you're going for, right? You're trying to sort of trap or maybe banish. Banish a spirit is right below it. So are you trying to limit this thing, or are you trying to get it out of here, send it away?
Yeah, I think the maybe like send it away, banishing it would be good, because I'm wanting to like kind of like evaporate that water with the fire.
As you, with that complete success, as this thing swings down with the pick and it buries into the wall, you whack out with a huge swing, slamming into the spectral forearm of this creature, seeing some water quickly starting to sizzle unnaturally. I mean, for all my jokes, the flashlight's not red hot, but it batters off of the pickaxe as you end up sort of in conflict with it. Turning and pivoting, it lunges out at you again. You slip and the flashlight falls out of your hands onto the ground. But as it rolls, the light of it casts up through this specter and onto the handle of the pickaxe. And you watch as this creature, falling back, shrieking out of the light, goes to reach for the pickaxe, but recoils as its hands would touch that sort of corona of warm, actually fairly hot light now. It falls backwards, and you watch it slowly lean into these waterlogged walls, these soaked passage here. And as it does, you watch it just pass into the wall and vanish.
All right, Ed, let's get down that ladder, I guess.
Do it.
Looking around and scrambling towards the water, you have a moment to catch your breath, and you can't help but look around and see this tunnel. Launching upwards, a trail of moonlight gashing down through. You see the countless spots of pick marks and alcoves, places where the walls were fortified up. As you look around, you see that you are surrounded by shattered wood. Bits of different things, framing pieces, a couple of small logs shattered against the ground of this place. You crawl towards that opening down below, and Brett and Clark, I imagine a sigh of relief comes over you as you see Branch and then Ed emerge. Brett, you've been thumbing through that book. If you'd like to, I would certainly say you've earned, an investigative mystery at minimum during that time. I wanted to wrap you in to that scene so that you could sort of call something up at a prophetic moment, but we moved very quickly and that scene went by very fast. So I don't want you to feel like you got screwed out of a moment there.
Nah, it's okay. I got a 10 plus +1, so an 11.
Hold 2, and you can go off of that information. That's how we're going to sort of tie this scene together. You hear this commotion. Clark is calling back some of what he sees. Branch, what do you yell as you see that heat seems to keep this thing away? How do you sort of yell that down to your allies as information, either in the moment or after things have calmed?
I guess I'll just be like, we've got a pretty chilling ghost up here, but the water definitely is boils well away.
So you
from its
hear
form.
that heat, this thing needs that water. That heat managed to sort of repel it. So you can go with that information already in your pocket. What of these two questions do you want to ask? Or you could certainly ask a more specific question that's not on the list. What we have is, what happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? What is being concealed here? The questions we've already answered is, what sort of creature is it? And now, what can hurt it? We know those two answers, but the rest of these fan out before you.
My questions are going to be, where did it go? And I think what is being concealed here. Brett gets a description of what this thing looks like, and is like, what is an older person like that doing here anyways? The camp is primarily children or the older adults that run the place, but something about it's not adding up, that this ghost is this old-timey visage. So he's trying to get to both of those. So where did it go? And
sort of
what can it do?
rapid fire in this moment. As Branch and Ed are coming down, Branch has a pretty easy time. Branch is first going down, but Ed has a pretty busted arm. I don't know if it's fully broken. We can sort of decide that in the moment. I had it 127 hours, so it's at least, we've got a fracture of some kind. I just don't know how severe that is. Brett, as you go like sort of up the side of the ladder to help Ed down and pass him below, you can't pass up on this chance. You've been reading about the drowned. You've been seeing all of this stuff. You know that there must be more to it. And so you climb the ladder after you help Ed down, and you poke your head up and you start looking around. The water around you is full of that thick standing water smell. But it occurs to you that the lake is something of the headwaters of the river that it is attached to, which means the water from this place, you are a camp counselor, so as much as anything else, you do know that shit. It occurs to you that all of the water that feeds the lake comes from these mountains. So any water that passes through the ground here is headed there. If this monster fled from hunting you all, you just spent a lot of time trying to keep those other kids out of the lake, and you remember feeling something grab you. That's where it's
Brett,
going.
He calls out, he's going back to the partiers. We got to stop it.
As you yell that and you turn, you see in amongst these broken pieces of wood and lumber is bound and tied shut. You look down and you see like a little bundle of furs almost, like this, obviously not ancient, but old, like very old looking thing. You reach down and you see these thick, sort of water resistant feeling kind of probably otter pelts or something, maybe beaver. And you don't know why, but you end up unraveling it and you see a bundle of papers kept together. And because this is a horror movie, none of us have to question how they survived this place filling with water. It's the pelts. Opening that up, you see these things, and grabbing them, you go down the ladder. Looking for answers, it occurs to you this might be something. As you go down, how is everybody else reacting? A, to the fact that Ed's alive. B, to this realization that your guys being safe may have put some other people in danger.
Well, sorry, Clark. What was that?
I go to Ed and shake my gold. Ed, smack you for making us run this far in. What are you thinking?
You say a single harsh word and it descends.
And just completely does not know what the hell is going on. It's like he hasn't been here until just now.
Brett,
He's still
Brett goes down the
traumatized.
ladder.
He's still traumatized by his left arm being absolutely fucked,
You
and then
s-
his buddy being. He doesn't know how to comprehend whether this ghost is real or not.
You see a man
It's just-
consumed by panic.
Yes, and he is not keeping his cool because he has no cool. He just helped out Branch. Just And he just crumbles.
Guys, Ed's best friend just died and he got attacked by a fucking ghost. I go over and I give Ed a big hug.
I turn to you and it's like, ghost?
Yeah,
It was-
it went in the walls, Clark. You gotta.
What do you mean when I didn't see anything?
No, that was what Branch called down. He was talking about it.
I
Yeah.
have been to many fucking concerts and I haven't tripped this fucking high.
Ed thinks he's high. Love it. I love it. It's just a bad
Yeah,
trip,
it-
man.
It totally just like slammed me against the wall. Like it was like very chilly water, like hands and stuff. Ugh.
And you all see as you look, the entire front of Branch's shirt is soaked with water.
Clark, I didn't want to believe it, man, but like, we gotta face the facts here. My freak cousin, he's been telling the truth. There's like a whole book about these monster things, and one of them is the drown. It lines up.
We smash cut to the back of a cop car going down the road to town, and Xavier, who is laying down in the back seat, kicking the rear window with his feet, yelling, "There are specters in the water! You must release me!" And the two cops just look at each other and then keep driving down the road as we cut back.
All right. Ghost stories after. I rip part of my shirt and start to like tourniquet the broken arm.
Yeah, with a couple of you sort of, I will say Ed is at one harm basically. It's basically 2 harm that has stabilized into 1 at this point. His arm is broken but no longer heavily bleeding as Clark goes to like make some kind of, is it a stint?
Yeah, if it's
yeah.
to stop a broken bone to keep it in place.
Yeah, I just can't remember what
Yeah.
you call the thing that you use to set it. As you sort of go to attempt that, I'm looking at the list here. I'm going to say... Gosh. There's really not a good immediate thing here. I'll say act under pressure. See if you can do enough to get it to the point where maybe it will, in earnest be 0 in huge air quotes, 0 harm. His arm will still be broken.
Is that cool?
Yeah, roll plus cool. This is just to
Okay.
keep your you are a teen and you look down at a pretty
Oh my God.
mangled broken arm and are trying to set it without throwing up.
I did get 2 6s plus 2.
Yeah, with a 14,
So 14.
total. With a 14 in total, I have a very simple question. Why is this not the first time Clark has set a broken arm? When did you have to do this before?
You know what? Thinking back to it, my grandpappy, he did it for me,
Yeah.
and so he showed me how to do it.
We cut to the wisdom of Jebediah, who told you to always stay away from the lake and taught you how to set arms by walking you through as he set yours. We catch this little black and white memory of, again, that same kid that the network hired to play young you that does not look enough like young you, being sort of walked through this as we see Grandpa Jeb trying to distract the kid, being like, now you gotta set the bone right and make sure it's lined up. And we hear the pop as he like pulls it back into alignment. And that scene melds with Ed yelling as his arm is set. You put a stick, a good sturdy branch under it, tie it off. And with that, Ed, you can erase that 1 harm. You will be at 0 harm. You're still -1 forward on anything that requires your left arm. But you're not harmed anymore.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. As this happens and you guys, I assume, get up, Spencer, you seem like you want to take it away.
Brett pulls out from his own small tray. He pulls a single joint out, lights it, takes a hit, and then hands it over to Ed. Says, "You should probably do that too." Yeah,
Ed takes a tremendous rip.
there you go.
Is this the shit I gave you before?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
passes it around. He offers one right to Clark.
I wish that
Saving his
half
life.
of the people that made that 70s show didn't turn out to be weird perverts, because there's a lot of really good analog jokes here that I gotta just file away in the oh no, they're perverts. That drawer's getting bigger every year. It's starting to really bother me. You guys head off, I assume out of the tunnel and towards the lake, right?
Yeah. I keep my lighter open with the flame going,
Great.
knowing what I know about the drowned, and I think we got to book it.
Is there anything else you guys want to do here before you leave? You're about to leave behind this, this vent that this creature appeared in. You're about to leave behind the generator. Is there anything else you want to do before we leave the scene?
I mean, there was a weird, like, broken shaft up there. I mean, do you think the raft could perhaps be, like, or was what you said about, like, the water flowing down? Maybe the raft is somewhere up on top of the mountain instead of down by the lake?
No matter what, it'll probably be an easier exit if we just go up the ladder. Ed, do you think you can handle going up the ladder?
Here's what I'll say. It would maybe gain you some information. It would not be easier.
Yeah.
Can I potentially read a bad situation? Just looking behind us, looking around.
Yeah,
make sure we're not being
perfect. Totally.
pursued.
So as you're sort of debating what to do next, go ahead and roll plus sharp to read a bad situation. Trying to figure out what to do here. I will say, did you take the ability that lets you find a way out?
So
Let me remind myself of what the name of that bad boy is. Did you take Let's Get Out of Here?
yes.
Okay. By telling them what to do or by leading them out, roll plus charm instead of plus tough. So,
Plus two.
not as close as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say you can basically take the charm for this read a bad situation. That's not normally
Oh,
how it would
thank
work,
fucking
but
God.
I'm going to give it to you on
thank-
this one.
Oh, thank fucking God! That's gonna make it a 10.
Yeah, with a 10, hold 3.
Oh my God! Thank God.
What's your best way in? Best way out? Dangers we haven't noticed? Biggest threat? What is vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victims? Let me answer Brett's question really quick. So, Brett, going up, it would give you a different situation. The problem is just that shaft is going to be, I want to say hundreds. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Either dozens or hundreds of feet up. So while there would no doubt be a way to like scale your way up and out, it would be a pretty arduous journey. If you guys are saying, if Brett is thinking, let's let the ghost go kill other teens so that we live, that's a great idea. That'll put you totally out of danger. If what Brett is trying to do is find an easy way back to camp, that would not be an easier way back to camp.
Yeah. Brett says we gotta go as fast as we can to the camp. Even if there is information up there, we can't find it. Not in time.
So Ed, what of the read a bad situation prompts do you want to go for here? It's a toughie. This is what I mean about these list questions.
You go through again. Just some.
Yeah, so you can hold these, so you can also just sort of stick it in your back pocket and have it when you need to. Your options are, what's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victims? I'll say in this situation, the ones that obviously seem the best suited are what's my best way out, aka the quickest way back to camp. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims? Seem to be the four that I think fit the best.
Yeah, I think absolutely. So, given everything, there can't be anything else out there. No, it can't be. So, what's the best way to camp?
Yeah, so for your first of those three holds, what's my best way out? Ed, in your panic, in a rush of cortisol and adrenaline, you ran here. This was maybe not the safest place to run. What you do know, Ed, is you sometimes do pickups at the Centennial Tunnel. And so you know a very quick way back to camp. That is much faster than running all the way back around the way that everybody went to find you. You know a very good path back that avoids the most precarious rocks, and would get you there nice and quick.
Guys, I'm over here. And Ed just lets all the details out on what our routes are. What do you think?
Yeah.
We take this
That
tunnel,
sounds good.
we go over there. We shouldn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Where's that gonna go wrong?
Ed, and keep in mind, so keep in your back pocket, you have 2 more hold that you can spend in a moment of need related to this. So don't forget about those, Nick, for that read about situation list. Ed takes you all on a wild journey of shortcuts and little half bits. If this was a full serial TV show, we would have watched all of this happen in an earlier episode under the light of day, but now we see it at night. We watch the group leaping between stones across small rivers, making their way down a winding switchback path that's faster than trying to scale the sort of rock wall next to it. You all duck under a big drainage ditch made to keep the lake from over flooding that makes a pretty good shortcut with a bit of bated breath as Brett looks at the water around his feet and shakes it off. You all cut through and continue to make your way down. You guys quickly are at the edge of the lake. It's only been what was about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour of tracking Ed down. It took maybe 5 or 6 minutes on this quick, somewhat breakneck of a trail back down to the lake. As you come out the other side, you can see the distant bonfire of the party not too far, maybe a quarter of a mile around the lake. 6 minutes if you start to run right now. Actually, most of you are teens in the 70s. 2 minutes if you start to run right now. Most of you are pretty fit. You'll get there in short order.
Right. How far from the beach is the refectory or the canteen, the food area?
Oh,
mess hall?
Yes, gotcha.
Mess hall.
Yeah, so they are in opposite directions. So
All right.
about a quarter of a mile, maybe an eighth of a mile to your right, which would be north around the lake, is where that party is happening. You can see the bonfire. You know that there are a few other fires that have been lit to distract in case somebody tries to break up this party. Normally they don't. They sort of let this happen. But if they tried to, there's a couple of people tending fires on other parts that we'll have to, that we'll check out. It is about half a mile to your left, which is south around the lake, back to camp, which is where, the food and everything would be. Let me say this. You don't hear the sounds of screaming coming from the camp. It doesn't sound like anybody is in danger literally right now. So if you wanted to try to do something else first, that would be fine. Also, we aren't playing D&D. You can split this party.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, guys, if it's water and fireworks, maybe oil is good too. I'm gonna head to the camp mess hall, grab some oils, and be back quickly.
All right.
Start running that way.
Okay, does anybody want to go with Branch on that mission versus going to the camp?
Oh, Branch, I pull out my van keys and I toss them, and I say, "It's the Econoline, the beat up white one. It's right in the main parking lot. Take that back. You'll get here quick."
All right, great, thanks.
The Econoline, I love it. You snatch the keys to the Econoline, turn around, and run towards the camp. As Clark, Brett, and Ed, it sounds like you all turn and run towards the party.
Brett snaps a branch off of a tree, a fairly thin one, long enough to grab onto, kind of walking stick-esque, takes his shirt off, and wraps his shirt around the top of that branch, and is going to be carrying that in. Trying to make it seem like more of a walking stick, but he does have ulterior motives.
So basically you make a torch very quickly, taking your shirt off. This is where we learn that whatever actor is playing Brett Andrews in the miniseries did the whole weight loss thing and was like, I'm taking my shirt off in this show.
Gotta show it
I don't care where you write it in. I'm doing it. It's happening. As you sort of run off. This is a great tragedy. I meant to ask you all to tell me what actors you cast as your characters today, and I totally forgot to text you. So that's my B. If you guys want to spend
I
some-
have an answer.
You do? All right. No
It's-
need to rush and do this, but Spencer, if you have an answer, I'm curious.
Yeah. It's Ralph Macchio, but if he'd grown his hair out.
Hell yeah. Ralph Macchio with a long perm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Trying to really capitalize on Ralph Macchio's Karate Kid, right?
Yeah, he's Karate Kid.
Yeah, trying to capitalize on the success of the Karate Kid, running off into the distance. Feel free to think about that. I meant to text earlier.
So yeah, for me, I guess it's gonna be Matthew Lillard.
It's just Matthew.
Yeah, it is fucking Matthew Lillard.
Oh, that's great. So that means
It's in
you're
his
like.
fucking prime. It is fucking
Scream Matthew
prime.
Lillard.
I was just about to say Scream Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys booking it north around the lake towards where this camp is. You guys running around the corner as Branch runs back, moving in these opposite things. Our camera sort of watching these two in like color block, watching these two things move. Who has something specific in mind? I know that obviously Branch, I'm not going to make you roll a bunch of stuff to find oil and even a little bit of pyrotechnics.
Oh,
You might have to roll
you
for,
know what?
but as far as finding oil, you just do that.
That is. Where's the fucking pantry? Where's the fucking mess hall?
Okay, so Ed, you think better of it as you go with Brett and Brant. As you go with Brett and Clark to the party, you think better of it and turn and chase after Branch towards the camp.
I'm really getting hungry, guys. I need snacks, and I turn around, but he hasn't. Well, he has
So-
better intentions.
Branch, a
That's
moment
right
of
there.
panic fills your chest as you open the door to the kitchen. You hear heavy footsteps behind you. You whip around, and it's Ed running after you, arm in a stint, headed towards the mess. You turn inside.
Not a ghost. Good. Okay. I'm gonna
Branch.
grab the oil now.
Branch, as you duck inside, you see a nice, big, like industrial commercial container of cooking oil right by a fryer on the floor. As against health code as you could be. It is just exposed out. The top of it is like visibly greasy. You reach up and grab this kind of sticky container of oil. And where are you headed next? Did you want to go look for fireworks or anything? Or are you headed right up to the camp? Sorry, not to the camp, to the party.
Getting it to the Econo line.
Yeah,
Putting
okay,
it
so
in
you're
with
headed to the
something.
van.
Yeah.
All right, we
And
watch Branch scoop this up and run out into the parking lot carrying this big jug of, probably like not even vegetable oil, just like frying oil, some anonymous blend. You run out into the parking lot, throw open the back of the Econo line, which is of course unlocked, and toss this huge thing of oil into the back seat and shut it.
Ed, you coming too? You got your meal?
We cut over and go back in time.
I need sharp cheddar, and he's just so you know, like, Ed is not just looking for food; he's actually looking for kitchen knives.
Yeah, Ed, we get, I imagine, a series of small scenes of Ed running his way through the kitchen, grabbing anything sharp and also any food that is out.
Is it sharp? Sausage.
Yeah.
Sausage.
It's like, I need to make sure it's sharp. Puts some food, starts eating while he grabs other things.
He's making a charcuterie plate in panic.
Eventually, Branch.
And I say he nicks himself in the process. He nicks his thumb
First blood.
because of the panic. First
Ed
blood.
cuts
The
his
hand's
thumb a
already
little
broken.
bit, turns, and runs out.
And with a fucking knife.
Branch, you see that Ed has like loose in his arms like 4 kitchen knives, a paring knife, and in the other hand he has a large plate with a bunch of cold cuts on it, and runs into the back of the van holding knives and cold cuts as you close the doors of the van and start it up. Of course it's and the van tears off. Brett, you hear the distant sounds of the Econo line starting up as you guys probably are already at the party. So I leave that scene behind as the two of you arm up for whatever it is that is about to happen next as we follow Brett and Clark. Brett and Clark, you two are, point of order, faster than Branch and Ed. You arrive at the party to the north faster than they arrive to the camp at the south. So, as you two sort of burst through the tree line to this party, what do? I will say, this place, undisturbed. There's a couple of pockets of people listening to disco at 76, living it up. There are a few other areas where people are shifting towards the sort of more classic rock kind of angle. Little groups have emerged. Everybody is either drunk enough or happy enough to not really be squabbling over anything. People are just enjoying the night. You do see a small group of 3 or 4 people looking for the canoe oars. You see that all the trucks have been pretty well searched, and one of the people, as you guys are walking up, is like, come on, like looking around, and you both obviously know what they're looking for. What are the two of you headed here to do?
2 things. My actor, Ross Lynch.
Nice. I think I'm gonna have to pull it up. Can you give me a roll?
Harvey Kinkle from Sabrina Teenage Witch. Which
He looks like a golden retriever made into the form of a man.
Oh, this is perfect. I pulled it up very quickly. Absolutely phenomenal. Wow. The face, the fucking face budget on this, the face card on this show is wild. Yeah, as the two of you dash up through this. What were you about to say though?
The other thing is, all right, hey Brent, just let me see the book. I don't quite know. I'm looking to see if there's anything that I notice from the book that resonates with anything that my grandfather said about like not being in the water.
Roll plus sharp. And what I'll say is, if you do this with Brett's help, Brett, you can roll to help, and I will let you know there will be some pretty bodacious benefits if you can pull it off.
Right,
Is it? What do I roll plus with help
So
out?
normally it's plus cool, but for a reason I'm not revealing yet, you can roll plus sharp if it's better. So
They're
Michael,
the same for me.
Hold 1 sec, Mike. Spencer, go ahead and roll that help.
That is a 9.
With a 9, you grant them +1 to the roll, but you expose yourself to trouble or danger. I have a perfect thing for that.
Brett pulls out the book and he says, "It's right here. It's the Drowned. There's some notes in there from a while back."
Open the book and you hand it over. And Clark, what was the result of your roll with a +2 instead of a +1?
+2, that gives me to 10.
Absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking through, and you're looking for something that resonates. The drowned. You're flipping through. It attacks people. It's like they drown on dry land. You're flipping through, you're trying to figure it out. As you do that, Brett, you look down, and you're still holding that bundle of papers that you found tightly bound in amongst those shatters pieces of wood. Curiosity gets the best of you, and you start flipping through. As these two things happen in concert, Clark, you're reading through what happens. You remember the story that Brett told you. Victor Miller drowning in the nurse's office like his lungs were filling with water. And you remember that your dad, Elias, had a sister. When your father was young, he had a sister. The two of them, despite being raised by your grandfather, he was not always the most cautious soul. And we see this moment, this story playing out. Your father was always cagey about his sister. As you recall these memories, you remember her name. Her name was Michelle. And she drowned. You remember that she had drowned. Where did she... But she had drowned in the house. She had drowned in the bathtub. And she wasn't a little girl. She was 14 or 15. She drowned in the bathtub. For a while, people thought it was a suicide. It was the strangest thing. As you're flipping through this, Brett, you start to look through these other papers. You see bits of scrap, the back of working papers, and you see a date on the front of one of them. The date on the front is for June 5th, 1876. the year the Centennial Tunnel was built. And you flip it, and there's writing on the back. Messy, penciled in charcoal, you see a note written out. To whomever may find this in the future, know that we here were betrayed. We are the workers of the Centennial Tunnel. After months of hard labor, we broached the rock and found water waiting. The tunnel filled. We had time, and they've underlined had time to call. The whistle sounded. They knew we was down here. The top was sealed. And there are signatures. 10 of them. Across the bottom of the paper. Wrapped in furs is a confession, a plea for justice, something. Those men were sealed in that tunnel. And the two of you look to each other and trade information. You remember your aunt, the story of your aunt drowning in an impossible situation. And Brett, you know, the Findales built that tunnel.
Clark, you gotta stay out of the water. Out of anybody here, you cannot get in the water at all.
Well,
Look.
you don't have to tell me twice.
I've got something I gotta do, but I'm gonna be in the party. I just have to go. I have to go to talk to fucking Duggins. I'll be right back. Just, hang around the party. I'll see you in 1 minute, all right?
As Brett goes to talk to his arch nemesis Clayton Duggins Clark, we get this moment where all of this stuff is handed over to you, and you see this connection in an age long past, a couple generations back, maybe your great grandfather. Somebody sealed that tunnel, and you would know something that Brett might not have put together. The original paper was from June. This note was written later. You know, the Centennial Tunnel was a rush to finish in time for the Centennial. The tunnel was finished on July 3rd. It's July 3rd, 1976 tonight. How you feel? Just talk to me about Clark, right? If this is this horror miniseries, where do we find Clark in this moment? What's going through his head? What's he doing? How's he feeling?
He is shaken to the core. He's thinking back to his family. And I think after being just shaken, it's like anger gets to him. Like, it was my family. My dirtbag family did this shit.
This bubbling feeling, your every uncharitable thought about the way that your family treats people, vindicated in this moment. Who wants to take the next scene as we leave Clark with these difficult feelings? Seems like Brett's doing something. I don't know if Branch or Ed have something in mind. Where do we go next? As a really loud laser sting plays.
Brett is okay taking over here because this is still in the same section of the scene. So Brett will do this, and I'm sure Branch and Ed will pull up.
So Branch and Ed, think about what you are doing once that van pulls up. As Clark fades, as the camera focus makes Clark go fuzzy and crystallizes Brett. Camera forward as you step out and forwards. What's up?
One thing I do want to do, everyone's been doing fire. I'm soaking my club, the head of my club, in water.
See if you can make contact with the water.
Gotcha. You take this, it's a 9-iron. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would work. And dunk it down in the water. Maybe rub a little dirt on it so that the water can stick to something in a way that it wouldn't stick to this.
And then it kind of fades.
Gotcha.
Crossfade over.
As we watch this moment, another a strong theme in these scenes so far has been the choosing the weapon has been consistent. I like it. As we focus in on Brett, we catch you moving at a brisk pace across the party towards Clayton Duggins. He is drinking with a couple of his buddies. The energy has faltered. It'll probably rally in 20 minutes, a half an hour, and this party will get a little crazy, but we have our first big lull. You see that somebody has driven into town to go get pizza. That is probably what is going to sort of revive this place somewhat. What do you do?
Clayton, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah, one second. I'm Googling something that I'm just really curious about. Okay, pizza became popular in the 70s. Good to know. I was like, I said that off the top of my head, and I was like, that might be too early. That's like, that might not have been correct. No, but we're good. You cross as you begin to move across the space. Clayton Duggins with his, remember, very broken nose. We see one of his buddies stumble a little bit, drain the rest of his can, and whack the side of Clayton, who goes up and goes, "Whoa, what's up? It's the murderer here to chat."
I didn't fucking kill that kid. You know that. I wasn't even at the fucking beach when he died. You saw him drown on land. I didn't do that.
If you're not there to save him, kind of like you did it.
I can see where you're coming from with that one. I do feel very guilty about the fact that I wasn't there. Here's the thing.
You say guilty, and Clayton like a full half sob involuntarily bubbles out of Clayton Duggins.
Clayton, look, it was fucked up. It was a shitty situation. I'm trying to do better here. I'm worried that Branch, he hasn't been around in a little while. He's supposed to be at the party. He's got a walkie-talkie on him. I don't have mine. You're the only person here I know who has one. Can I borrow your walkie-talkie just for a minute?
Roll to manipulate someone. Classic and plus charm.
I do have an ability that allows me to ask you what will convince this person to do what I want. My grifter ability. So what will convince him to do this?
What will convince Clayton Duggins? Clayton Duggins wants to be the big dog. Just find some way to make this... You've already done it a little bit. Just find some way for this to make Clayton the good guy in this situation. And he'll always say yes. Give him a chance to be the team captain, and he'll say yes.
Clayton, like I said, you're the only one who's got their radio right now. Legitimately, look around. All the counselors, sloshed, hammered, high as hell. They don't have any equipment. You're the only one.
You watch Clayton kind of sit up straight and tuck he with his foot tucks his half-drunken beer can behind the table so that you can't see it, and goes, "Well, someone needs to hold down somebody needs to keep these people safe in these situations,
Exactly.
He reaches back and unclips his radio, his walkie-talkie, and hands it to you, and goes, "Wait," and reaches into his pocket and pulls a D battery out of a bag.
Ooh.
And opens the radio and slides it in, because that's right, you had to take them out so that they wouldn't lose their charge. And hands it to you and goes, "Don't keep that in for more than 20 minutes.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
I just need it for 1 minute. I'll bring it back up. I'll
It'll
be right
just
over
chew
here.
through that as you head off with the battery."
I turn it to channel 4. Click, click, click. This is Snake to the Bad Boys 3. Snake to Bad Boys 3.
You hear "This is Bad Boys 3, listening to Snake. What's your over, copy?" You hear a correction from the other side. It's "What's your copy over? What's your copy over?"
Bad Boys 3, I got a job for you. I guess it's a two-parter. First, I need you to gather up all the fireworks for the celebration tomorrow and bring them to the second campfire on the right. Second, I need 1 or 2 of you to get the boats that are going to be launched tomorrow and put them in the middle of the lake. Just push them off, turn the engines on, send them out.
All right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, great, cool. You hear a scatter of excitement from the other end. We smash cut. If we end up missing more games, we're gonna do another monster of the week that is these three boys for sure. We cut to the other side, and a full genre change to a much more whimsical Monster Squad style movie across the lake happens. We see these three boys who all stop talking into one walkie-talkie that has the name of a different camp counselor taped across the back, run off in different directions. A whole montage plays out of, like a stick coming through the doorway into where the fireworks are and lifting the wooden block. The doors open and, and Jimmy and Tommy step through and there's just stacks of fireworks and they... and run in like fucking Merry and Pippin at the start of the Lord of the Rings and load up their arms and start filling up a wheelbarrow. As we cut over to Davy, who I guess will be the pyromaniac or, mechanically minded of our crew, who goes out to all of these different boats. These are like racing boats, so unfortunately none of them have motors and whatnot. But we watch him go through a series of like, he pushes one and it moves like blue. It's like shit. And we'll cut back to you guys. Just imagine every 15 minutes or so we cut back to Davy doing increasingly stupid things to try to get these very heavy racing boats out into the middle. Eventually we will cut to the boys strapping fireworks to these boats and blasting them into the middle of the lake. But that'll be, 20 minutes into the movie here. Brett, a fabulous use of one of your resources as a crooked?
Yeah.
As the crooked. All right, cool. As that scene closes, Ed and Branch, the Econoline rips up on that side road to this party. What are you guys up to?
I guess definitely on the straightaways I'm accelerating. When we turn some corners, I look at all the sharp things in the back and I start slowing down and grandma style around the corners. Just be like, keep those knives safe back there, Ed.
What? I'm as sharp as an owl.
Yeah, we have. I love that we have a fairly serious horror movie going on in the front and a real goosebumps ass scene playing out in the back seat as Ed is juggling these knives as we come to a stop. Branch, you park the Econoline, hopping out the door. Brett, you see the van pull up, and Branch step out.
Honk, honk. Yeah, I honk twice, pull up, turn off the car, and then go for the oil.
One kid does run up thinking that you're the pizza and oh man, turns around and goes back as he sees you walk out with truly just cooking oil. As Clark, you run up the sort of outside as well, I assume, unless you had some other thing you wanted to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
As we reconvene the scene. Go ahead.
I toss the walkie-talkie back. I say, thanks, man. Everything's good. He's here. Thanks for looking out. And I toss that and I run past.
Clayton fumbly catches it and goes, damn, he was fast. And turns around to go back to whatever he's doing, hanging out with his birds.
All right, how's it looking, guys? You got everything you need?
Well, cooking oil, I guess we have two options for it. We can either burn it for more fire or coat stuff. If it is a watery ghost that grabs us, if we're in oil, we might be fine. It might not be able to touch us. Or create a barrier.
Brett, you look down, and we previously established that you work 1-to-1 with the cook of the camp quite frequently, one Larry Fitzgibbons, who you get along with well. You look down, you are well aware that is a blend of new peanut oil and used peanut oil and new vegetable oil and used vegetable oil and a at the thought of dumping it over yourself, but it'll burn and it'll coat things.
I think putting it on ourselves is risky. Say something fiery comes in contact, we're done for.
Yeah.
But I think that expanding the fire, maybe putting it on the water so it floats over the top and we light that up while the thing's standing there. Maybe.
What a perfect 70s horror movie thing for them to be like, we'll put oil in the lake. Perfect.
If we can get it set up and we can knock it over into the water after we make this thing appear and we light it up, maybe that'll do the trick.
Yeah, hopefully it'll keep at least the kids away from the camp too. Or
Yeah.
keep them away from the water. And
Yeah.
I want to pull out my garrote, which is, I guess, like some sort of chain I use to like cut small branches and stuff, and dip that.
Oh,
in
one of
the-
those cutting chains. That's calling that a garrote is horrifying.
Mm.
I know exactly the camping tool you're talking about. You take one of these, like, basically it's a chainsaw chain with wooden handles on either side, and you dunk it down into the oil, getting a nice thick coat across the top of it.
I've got some more weapons incoming that you can all utilize as well. I do like tap it where my gun is. And I say, I'm worried that's not going to be much help at this point. Is the thing.
Yeah, flame bullets.
They're hot when they come out, so maybe that's something.
Well, if a flashlight slows it down, maybe your bullets will too.
Maybe.
I'm
But,
curious.
like I said, I got something coming.
I'm curious, does it occur to Brett for a moment that if he went and killed Clark's dad, maybe things would ease up? I just wonder, does that?
That's the angle he's taking with the boats. It's like
Gotcha.
maybe if we ruin the celebration and fuck up the camp, that will appease whatever these things are.
Okay. Make sure if you guys have those like undercurrent thoughts, make sure you tell me. I need to be
Yeah.
able to sort of read those. Okay, thank you. That is a much better understanding of sort of what is to come on that. All right, cool. As the Bad Boys 3 are going to disturb that, you guys are chatting this out. Where does the action go? Feel free to jump out of the scene if we need to cut to somewhere else, but gathering around this oil, we dip this chain. Brett, you trying to think of a way to have your gun be more useful. You're not sure exactly what. Ed, the nunchucks that you grabbed this morning out of your gym bag are tucked into your back pocket. You're wondering what that could be. As Clayton Duggins and his crew are going out, you see another car pulls up outside. Pizza starts to get handed out. You see a couple of boxes get handed out. People start to eat. The night is still strong. These kids are going to be partying for a good while longer. Still, nothing has broken, and it occurs to you, no one's in the water. Still.
I think we need to get our trap set, and we need to lure this thing out.
Sorry.
Bless you, Clark.
Thank you.
Who?
All right.
Let's pour the oil, and then we can talk about who's going in the water.
All right. Yeah, I'll
Good.
start spraying the oil over there.
I love this. I have a very
Good
clear
lord.
mental picture of what hard successes and hard failures will look like in the coming scene. You guys have this moment where you realize you can't keep track of all of these people all night. You can't do it. Eventually, people are going to want to go swimming. You run the risk of, if they're drunk enough to not want to take the canoe, eventually they'll be drunk enough to skinny dip. People are going to go out in the water. Brett, you have the thought. We can have control of the situation at least. And so you and Branch start making your way across with this large, we're doing movie logic, which I appreciate. So even though it's like a gallon of vegetable oil, it will work for the purposes that we need. Maybe it's like a 5 gallon, but still,
Yeah.
it'll work for what we need in this scene, largely because it's a movie. As you guys sort of like each have handles, making your way across and go to approach and dump it into the lake, trying to sort of seal off this top part. I think It's gotta be act under pressure just to do it without being noticed. Let me pause that quickly and say, Ed or Clark, do you have any way to help your compatriots? Do you have any way to, pull focus somewhere else?
Well, is he attracted to me in any way?
The ghost? I mean, the
no.
ghost we tried to me, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, you've got kind of two angles here. Ed, you got away from it, so that might make it want to go after you. And this is a question, Clark. Did you and Brett tell everybody about what you learned, or is that a secret between the two of you?
I wouldn't keep it a secret, but I wouldn't tell because this is more of Clark's family's thing. So Brett wouldn't bring it up.
Yeah, fuck my family. I'd tell them.
Okay, so Clark did tell everybody about this. So it occurs to you, Ed, you're both pretty good bait.
So, I think depending on where the traps are being set, we're trying to put ourselves pretty close to the water, right?
We're coating the top of the water with the oil. And then once it's set, we're going to send out somebody as bait. And it seems like Clark is probably the best candidate, but Ed, you are easily the second best.
So maybe what it is we send Clark out first, but Ed stays on like maybe the other side as like maybe a different avenue as bait. And
A distraction for sure to get away from Clark.
So you guys go out on, there's like this row of 3 or 4 docks on this side, and you guys go out on different ones out to the edge of the water.
And also, because we're going with this theme, for some reason Ed is thinking, well, maybe if I just take this salami and like smear it on me, it might smell like
Absolutely.
me, and then I can throw breadcrumbs if it chases me in different directions. It goes a different way so I can get away. You're saying there's a chance.
Ed's passion for
as he fucking eats the fucking salami.
Ed's passion for arcade cabinet games really leads into a fantasy thing. As Brett and Branch, you're making your way over. You see Clark go out to the edge of one of these docks. Ed go to the other. You both look over and pause for a moment as you watch Ed pull a full salami out of his pocket, cut it with a pocket knife, and start rubbing it on himself and eating it. Ed's having a real experience that the rest of you aren't super having. Ed, what I'm going to say that'll give you is Clark, you go ahead and roll to help out. Ed, you automatically succeed because of the power of heart. I know exactly what this is. Nobody is looking at Brett and Branch to yell at them for dumping oil in the lake because they are entirely too busy watching a grown teen rub salami all over his body. So like, Brett, you see Clayton look up and scan the area and you're like, fuck. And then you see him go, hey, what's that freak doing? As it's rubbing salami all over his chest. All of that attention goes in that direction.
I feel like an Edmonton hooker right now with this oil on me.
Clark, what was the result of your help out roll?
Sorry, what am I adding to mine?
So that would be plus cool.
Cool, okay. That is...
We salvage it.
9.
9, mixed success. You grant the +1, but expose yourself to danger. I know exactly what this is. This could not be more perfect. Now,
I know too.
The big roll. Brett and Branch, either of you can roll. I need somebody to roll a pretty clutch act under pressure with +2. I will be candid. A full failure will make things break so bad so fast.
So
I have a +1. Branch, what do you have?
+1 as well.
Well,
+1. Oh wait, no, I'm 0. Never mind.
Ed, you're good. Brett and Branch have the oil bucket, so and you already gave them a +1 with your help out, so you're golden. You're doing your dance. You're doing a Kabasi dance up on top of the thing, sort of getting leered at there. So because it's the two of you, you can each roll a d6. Maybe that's fun. I don't know. However you want
Branch?
to do it.
Sure.
Brett says, Branch, take this one, pour this out. And he looks over towards Clark and he says, Clark, if you're in the water when this ship breaks bad, dive underneath. It won't burn you if you're under the water. Just get under the water.
Okay, cool. All right.
All right.
Pop off of that roll, Branch. You have a +2.
Oh man. All 2s then.
Oh!
So 6 total. I think I might blow the plot armor point for this one then.
Ooh,
I would.
Perfect timing.
I would.
Yeah, so doing that one.
Does that give an auto success? Like an auto
Yes.
best
Auto.
result?
I think it's an
Nice.
automatic 12.
Yeah.
On a 6 or lower with no luck point burnt, as you dumped the oil, you are going to hear from over your shoulder in the party, everyone in the lake! And they were all going to dive in. So you could not have burned it at a better time, but that is your second luck point. First blood.
Mm-hmm.
Brett and Branch, the two of you dump this oil in, and it starts to blah 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 fill out into the area. We watch the camera set low, moonlight dancing across the water. We see this sort of wavering rainbow oil color spread out across the lake. As it disturbs the texture of the top of the water, Clark is like over the edge of the dock waving his arms, not sure what attention it is you're trying to grab, while Ed is distracting the people at the party. As this is happening, Branch, you look over, your eyes see something in the water. So do yours, Brett. As the oil pools in front of Clark, you see in the water, perfectly invisible to your eyes a moment ago, but with the disturbance of the oil, you watch as, distorted by the oil flowing around it, the spectral form already in the water just under the surface, it had already been staring at Clark. As that happens and you lose a little bit of attention, Branch's leg slips into the water and you feel a tearing sensation, a burning pain in your leg, Branch, as you look down just in time to see the edge of like a shorter hunting knife clutched, the more modern, soaked, the kind of thing that's been sitting at the bottom of the lake. Some kid dropped it a year ago, as a completely different specter than the one watching Clark lunges out of the water and slashes across the front of your shin. You take 1 harm.
Shit.
All right. I do that, yelling, ah! And then, like, as I'm, like, pushing backwards, my other leg kicks against the, I guess the rest of the oil can, and it, like, kind
Yes,
of
absolutely.
rolls over
You
the
kick.
dock into the water.
And the oil came dunk, 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 bloof, into the water. More oil pulling out. Brett, you see this thing's arm jet out and cut the front of Branch's leg as the two of you fall backwards. Branch dangerously close to doomsday. All the
Brett
rest of
pulls
you,
Branch away.
you pull him back up and out. Everybody else still not noticing as this blood sort of pours down the front of Branch's thing. Clark, you look down. You are looking into the face of one of these things, poised under the water, ready to lunge out at you. What do you do in this moment as Ed, all of this commotion ripples up behind you? You're definitely on deck to do the next big thing here, whatever that is. Clark, how do you react as you realize you were moments away from being grabbed, and now you know it? What do you do?
I have my club. He's Dren. I yell 4 and swing it under the water,
And
aim
you-
for his head.
Woo! Swinging down into the depth of the water there.
Gotta respect a man who sees a spirit's visage for the first time and tries to crack
Just
it across
fucking-
the skull. You're rolling to kick some ass. I'm gonna forerun that.
One second. I'm finding out a very important piece of information. Look, when do you guys think? Wait, everybody stop! When do you think the first golf club was sold on U.S. soil?
Oh God.
If like 1812.
1886.
1743.
Damn.
Holy shit!
Golf's old.
See, this is all the jokes aside. Clark,
From Scotland, right?
you're the chosen. You're not some namby-pamby dude with a golf club. This is your chosen weapon. As it rears up and glints in the light, you look up and see that this is a very old, well-maintained golf club. You don't recognize the mark. As you look down at the handle, you see emblazoned across the side the name of one of your foregone predecessors. You see sort of up the side, Jonathan Fintail, and a date. Ages in the family. What? You swing down and roll to kick some ass.
All right.
This weapon can damage the monster. Not everything can.
Is that tough?
Yeah, roll plus tough, kick some
Okay.
ass.
All right. That's 9. And I do have devastating. When you inflict harm, you inflict +1 harm.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And then I don't I can't remember off the top of my head how the sort of math for the chosen's weapon goes.
It is.
I know you choose a couple of properties, so it's a question of sort of what you went with.
Yes. So it is. What was it? It's a handle with. It was.
So handle, 1 harm, balanced
One.
hand,
Yep.
and you had to
And
choose
then-
3 business end options.
Yes. It's heavy, long, and I did have his throwable. Because of this, I'm adding artifact to it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's funny. Add magic. I love it. And then material will be, probably steel or cold iron. As you rear back, looking up, it occurs to you, as you see this bling glinted across the side, and you, whoom, and it'll do 3 harm instead of 2, right? Because you said you had some other property going?
Yes. My devastation. So yeah, it'll be 3 harm.
You swing this club down hard. What was the result of your roll? Was it over 10?
No, it was 9.
On a 7 plus, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. Absolutely. You crack down into this thing. You watch the form disrupt and is sort of sent scattering into the water. But just as it does, its hand rears up, grabs you by the collar, and drags you down into the water with it. As you fall in, it feels like the water is trying to push its way into your nose, to force its way past your lips and into your mouth and into your lungs. The water wants to hurt you. As you fall in, you only take 1 harm as you feel this bracing pain as it is trying to get into your lungs. As it takes 3, you see that spectral form shatter and doesn't seem to reform. But you are still in the water in that moment. With that, we cut quickly. Ed, what are you up to as this plan seems to be working, but descends into panic, and worst of all, Clark falls into the water.
So,
Woo! It's toasty in this office.
Oh no.
No, it's fine. It's not as bad as it was the other day.
see, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Oh, I don't.
What could go wrong?
Let me rip up.
And he brings out
The non-chocolate. Oh.
It's from the. I'm thinking Tropic Thunder from 2000. Holy shit, it's old. It's old now. Just
Whenever the mundane charges,
Bojack Black moment.
whenever the mundane charges into immediate danger without hedging their bets, you hold 2. You can inflict more harm, reduce someone's harm, or take +2 forward. You all watch and turn and watch Ed with a broken arm pull nunchucks out of his back pocket and sprint to the end of the dock
back
and
pocket.
jump in after Clark into the water. Skaboof!
Fuck.
Brett just mouth open. Where did he get nunchucks? Watches this happen. Ed, what are you doing? What's the goal? Are you trying to grab Clark and drag him to safety? Or are you trying to fight ghosts in the water with a nunchuck?
At this point, he is taking everything. He's trying to at least see if he can hit something physical with the ghost that can at least reel him off and grab Clark, and then grab Clark back out of the surface.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're not trying to kick some ass. You're trying to protect Clark.
Protect.
So go ahead and roll to protect someone.
He swings wildly, cracks me in the head.
Deep
Go wrong.
Kills
and then,
Clark.
so
I then become a
what-
vengeful ghost.
is it +2 or?
Yeah, so you
You're
can
tough.
you can definitely take. It says take +2 forward on an act under pressure
Right.
roll.
Wait,
I will
so-
certainly give you that +2 on this
+2?
protect someone. That's
Mhm.
Monster of the Week says pretty explicitly in the rules to like bend things in better scenes, so don't worry about it.
+2? +2?
+2.
4 + 4 +2?
10, just over into a complete victory.
Ooh.
You all watch like an eagle in flight. Ed, one arm broken up against his chest, other hand with a nunchuck over his head, jumps into the water. Clark, you watch, eyes open, oil and water mixing and pulling. You see the form of the specter that you just scattered, and then you look deeper into the water, and your eyes go wide, and you see the raft. The chunks and broken composites of wood come into crystal clarity as you see this strange ethereal version of that raft under the water, and 9 figures attached to the top of it, some of them strapped down, some of them over these years, their forms having fused, these ghosts swirling and pulling forward up towards you. You bubbles floating upwards just in time to see Ed, nunchuck in hand, dive into the water and start batting away at the ghosts. As the propulsion of it launches him backwards, he takes his right leg, wraps it around your leg like you're in a wrestling match, and keeps paddling and pushes the two of you up to the edge of the dock, where Clark, you manage to grab onto the dirt and pull yourselves both out of the water. Clark, you only ever heard it described to you from Brett. You know one of the last things Victor Miller ever saw. Victor Miller saw this. This is the raft. There's a hair in my mouth, and I gotta get that. This is the raft. These spirits still here, still hunting who they feel. Doom them that day. You pull up onto dry land. Brett and Branch, you watch, unbelievably, Ed and Clark blast up onto dry land, having saved themselves via nunchucks and gumption, and not a damn other thing. Who reacts next?
Seeing them out of the water, Brett pulls out his lighter, lights it, and tosses it into the water.
Okay. I love it. I'm going to have you roll I'm going to have you roll act under pressure. The only thing you are rolling for is to see if a bunch of people see you set the lake on fire.
That is a 9.
Hard choice or price to pay. You toss this and turn, and no one is paying attention. Except for Clayton fucking Duggan. Who looks out, sees you you watch as you toss it and turn. You lock eyes with Clayton. I'll say, he's not immediately furious. You had a little bit of a moment of peace. Your eyes go wide, his eyes go wide, and the lake behind you lights with fire.
The party's never gonna die, man!
Roll plus charm.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a +1 because you lit a fucking lake on fire and yelled, "The party's never gonna die, man."
That's a 12 with a +1.
With a 12.
Oh.
They'll do it for the reason you gave them. You, reading lips across this long distance, you see Clayton Duggins go, "I mean, he knows how to live, man." As the lake lights on fire behind you, Clayton is only impressed with your bad boy nature. As the lake erupts in fire, you turn around to see, like they are behind the bars of a prison cell, you see this one specter, the one that slashed out at Branch, burst into flames. As the fire overtakes it, it goes to dive back into the water and hits the oil and starts to try to like claw its way inside. As the fire consumes it, it is destroyed. As you continue to look down and in, you see the raft as well.
Holy shit, it's the fucking raft. It's the raft. It's real.
You see the raft that took Victor Miller, whatever it was, whatever curse they laid on him. In this moment, you can't help but wonder, what can they do to make you drown on dry land? Caution, caution in these moments. But you've made some meaningful progress here. The day goes on. It's like 1 a.m. now. A lot of running, a lot of moving around, a lot of grabbing things at the party, setting up this thing. It's, like I said, maybe 4 hours, 5 hours till sunrise. The fire is lit. The party takes, with that successful charm, takes a turn, not in a bad direction, but towards the, like, post-Vietnam anarchist. Like, a lot of these kids this turns into a very different vibe, a little bit of Lord of the Flies, as people continue to drink and joke. A couple of the radios get turned up. The people playing disco, turn it down a little. You for sure watch a couple of disco and easy listening kids leave this party. They go, "Oh, I didn't think this was that kind of party." And you see a couple of cars drive off towards the town.
That's a win.
Things have spiced up a little bit more maybe than they anticipated. Halfway across town, we see a cop car pull into the police station. After what should have been a 20-minute drive turned into an hour and 40-minute drive because of Xavier's increasingly terrible antics. The window by his feet is shattered and has been covered by a plastic tarp. The two cops finally park. One of them opens the door, steps out, pulls a cigarette out to light, looks up, and sees a column of smoke over the lake. Looks at the cigarette.
It's the Spectres, officer, I told you.
Looks up, and here's Xavier go, "It's the Spectres, officer!" Lights the cigarette, and just gets back in the car and shuts the door, and turns the car back on to head back, to turn right around and drive back to the camp. That brief scene, as we cut back, the lake's aflame. These things are contained. This party, pretty safe. As far as these people, no one's getting in the fucking lake tonight, man. You've certainly, the people at this party, for as much as they are now surrounded by a giant inferno, are pretty safe, given for what the actual threat is here. Clayton Duggins is learning to respect Brett Andrews' wild boy lifestyle. Where you guys sort of reconvene, regathering this moment. Ed Green, you gotta feel like the biggest damn hero who's ever lived, having nunchucked Clark to safety mere moments ago. As you guys regroup, I, as the GM, am unsure. What's the plan?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, like, is that a
There's
spectral
not much
raft?
to do. I need salami.
Has that raft been in there all this time?
It's like a metaphysical raft, I think. I don't think the raft is actually anywhere. I think the raft is at all times everywhere in the water. Am I crazy for thinking that? Clark, is that what you got from that?
I don't know, man.
Because it was like,
maybe it's. I doubt it's always really there. It's probably because of today.
I bet you there is a raft somewhere in the lake, but I don't think the raft is right here. You know what I mean? We'd have to find it.
You saw the shattered remains of the raft in
Yeah,
that
no.
in that vent. It was
Oh,
what
it's
was
the
like
vent.
scattered and stuck
Hmm.
into the dirt and grime of the inside of that vent was these
I
chunks
see.
of the raft. You recognized them as the same, and that note that I can't repeat. That note
Yeah.
sort of was clearly said by people who had found some degree of safety. The picture that's painted is the vent started to flood. They built a raft and then watched whoever was in charge just cap the vent. Didn't even try to pull them out.
I gotcha. I mean, we could go back into the tunnel and try and burn out the raft, but we'd be putting ourselves in the only danger. It would just be us.
Yeah, should we try to like go up the hit mountain to see where the vent comes out, approach it from the top, instead of going through the tunnel again?
It would probably be safer. Yeah, Clark.
I think I know, or I think I might know roughly where it could be.
The opening.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now,
Sometime around now, you hear the loud sound of fireworks and watch a rocket-propelled canoe blast across the lake at a crisp, like 32 miles an hour from across the camp. Brett, you turn just to see a...
Do any of them pass through the fire?
No, the lake, for the record, this lake is really... I keep thinking, because Spencer and Michael are on the call, that I can say fucking our hometown ass references. I was about to say, like Saratoga Lake. You know, everybody knows about that.
You know, pretty big.
No, it's not like one of the Great Lakes, but two boats could both be rocket propelled towards each other,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't even get like a third of the way across the lake.
You can see the other side, but you're not gonna want to swim to the other side.
It's long enough to have a boat race that doesn't
Yeah.
double back. It is a one-way race.
All right.
yeah, whatever we do, I don't think we want to be here.
No. I have a plan in the works for fucking up the day tomorrow. Maybe that'll appease the ghosts. Maybe it'll appease some of them. Once those boats are centered, I'll order the Bad Boys 3 to launch some of the fireworks at them, burn them up, and maybe that'll get rid of some of the threat.
This is gonna be the best day of the Bad Boys 3's fucking lives. This is gonna be. Do you have any idea how long it's gonna take them to have a day better than this? They're gonna be well into their 20s before they have a day better than blow up canoes with fireworks from the shore. This is like 76. Rambo's out, right? Isn't that? Or is that 79?
I think I'll look really quick. But in the meantime, I think that we go meet with the Bad Boys, grab some of the fireworks they've retrieved, and we get out of there. We grab the fireworks, we go to the place, Clark, where you know that opening is. We descend, burn things away, fight off what we need to. Maybe we end this tonight.
Great.
Oh, no. So for the record, Rambo First Blood is 1982. Jaws is 1975. Those boys have all found knitted beanies to put on. They're gonna do a whole skit. They're gonna have a great time. All right, so let's nail it down here. What's the plan?
Get in the Econoline, drive to meet the Bad Boys, retrieve several fireworks for our own armaments, go to the top opening on the mountain that Clark knows of to descend through the tunnel, find the raft, burn it, and have the Bad Boys burn the ships to try and ruin the day tomorrow. Okay. Maybe that'll handle some of the ghosts. Whatever isn't handled, we'll deal with in the mountain.
I'm looking at the time, and I know what this is. This is it's time to take it serious. What do you call it? Montage at the end of the horror movie. We're strapping chainsaws to stump hands. We're tying light bulbs to the end of sticks to shatter to point at stuff. So what I'm gonna ask from each of you is your scene of the montage as we cut to the wheels of the van ripping down the road towards the camp. We cut to the Bad Boys 3, each of them launching these canoes off, the other ones pulling up fireworks and setting them up on the ends of the dock pointed outwards. We smash cut. I need one montage scene from each of you. If I'm looking over at Streamlabs, it's Spencer, then Michael, then Stefan, then Nick. So that's the order we're gonna go in. Spencer, do you need me to vamp for a little while longer?
Brett tells the plan to the Bad Boys 3, and they cut away to shipping off those boats. He grabs one Roman candle, a bunch of them, throws them into a pack, takes one of them out, lights it as it goes. He puts the stick with the shirt in front of it, and it lights it up. He launches the rest of the Roman candles at the boats, and he has his torch shirt ready to go for in the cave.
These Roman candles with the Bad Boys 3 firing off as this torch gets lit and you're looking out over into the distance. One of the Bad Boys 3, who's it? Davey goes, gonna need a bigger boat. As they start to ignite off in the distance. We cut to the next person. Michael, what is your part of the montage?
I have the declaration of the dead men and who I'm just assuming I killed. I make a mark on that one.
Just guess a name.
You know what? What it is, but because it's a horror movie, it just works. And I'll say you saw 2 of them go up in smoke. We see Clark take this list, take a pencil out, and scratch 2 names out of 10 off. 8 names are left on the list. All right, so good. We cut to Stefan up next. Stefan, what's your scene of the montage?
I guess once the van stops and like meets up at the Bad Boys Club, I run out quickly to the camp, grab like some really long pieces of like the camp rope for like the climbing utensils and stuff, haul those into the back of the van, start like making like knots in them and like getting like python things so we can like tie them up and use those to propel down.
We see you going through, grabbing this climbing gear. Again, if this was at the end of a longer TV series of these, paranormal drownings and stuff, we would see flashbacks to other scenes of Branch doing his trail work. As you load up this bag and toss it over your shoulder and open up the door, you step out into the light, and that is your scene of the montage. Nick, what is Ed up to in his part of the montage?
Ties a rope around his back, turn into some random quiver of random kitchen knives. He's coming in there throwing nunchucks as he's trying to have a wiener in his big mouth. Oh. And he's green slices as he's making it, and he takes one harm for cutting his tongue.
In a scene, a perfect action movie scene, we cut to Ed like doing that like buckling up scene, but it's with rope that he is tying in various positions. He tucks these knives into different corners, and then the scene when like Arnold Schwarzenegger would like put a cigar in his mouth, he puts a cold hot dog in his mouth and heads towards the van
and cuts his tongue
and does
and just
tongue bleeding a little bit, chewing a cold hot dog like some kind of absolute fiend. Are you guys driving a van up the side of the mountain?
Maybe
We're getting to a
access
trailhead
road.
that Clark knows. Yeah, we'd take an access road as close as we could, but Clark said he knows where it might be.
Especially with Branch knowing the trails up, and then Clark knowing the mountains as like a larger area, as somewhere that his family is more familiar with. Branch, you guide the van through some of the access roads that you know are around here, getting a good bit up these sort of switchback, that's what you call it when they do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Trails up. Eventually the van gets, the better part of halfway, 2/3 of the way up the mountain. It's not crazy. It's like, it's like a normal hiking mountain that you could do. It's not, you're not going up the Rockies or anything. Mm-hmm. As you all pile out of the van and with Clark's instructions start making your way up the side, we cut to you moving through the darkness of this place. Looking around, you can't help but notice trails of water. flow down the side of the mountain. It's summer. So a lot of the melt off has happened, but this is what feeds the lake. This is what feeds the river. Fun geography lesson. This is actually how lakes and rivers work. As you are making your way up, crossing countless brooks and streams, you start to see, as you get closer and closer, eventually one of you, whoever it is, spots one of these like babbling brooks ripple. And an arm start to crawl out as one of these figures starts to lift themselves out of the water. You turn and start to move as Brett, you grab whoever spotted it and start to pull. You turn around to see another one climbing up out of a tree on the other side. He reaches down. It turns out the like common horror this movie is afraid of is littering. He reaches into the river and pulls like a sharp bit of metal that somebody dropped out. And these things start to emerge. They know what you're doing. They see that you're getting closer, and you are pursued. Who does the next thing as you all break into a run up the mountain?
Brett pulls out a Roman candle, lights it, and starts launching it at any of these forms that appear.
Branch, as Branch, I maybe weaponless, somewhat, right? What is Branch? Did Branch grab anything?
I mainly have my like oiled up garrote, I think.
Yeah, you have this like
my-
oiled chain. As Clark, you brandish your divine gold club, and Ed, you grab like one of 50 throwing knives. Brett, you light a Roman candle and fire it off. I'm gonna just ask you: are you trying to hurt ghosts, or are you trying to progress up the mountain? What's the main goal?
I think right now Brett is worried about the number of ghosts that we have to deal with, because maybe his plan didn't work at all, and we're staring down the barrel of 8 ghosts. He's trying to kick some ass. He's trying to burn these out before we get there.
Absolutely. Roll plus tough. As you guys are all running up, you keep stopping and moving, shifting up this trail. Clark, you're keeping a hold of where you know you need to go. You know where this vent leads up into the top. As Brett, you whirl around and light a Roman candle to fire at one of these. What did you roll?
7.
7. You and whenever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. The amount of harm is based on the established danger. Absolutely. As you are making your way up, a Roman candle. What do we think damage-wise? What's a Roman
I'd say
candle?
it's on a person. I would say 1 harm to just get burned by a Roman candle. A ghost predicated on wetness, maybe a little more harm.
I'm going to say, because their weakness is fire, I'm going to say it'll do... Yeah, I'll say it'll do 2 harm to these things, and we'll see how that sort of proceeds. With that 7 to 9, this thing will do harm to you in kind. You turn and fire one of these Roman candles. It strikes into one of these specters, and you watch its body, as if made of water and steam, shatters off to the side. It kind of like fractures, and those parts kind of stay drifted back as the other arm is still strong. It moves forward. As you fire, you turn just in time to see one of these things with just a branch that is sharp at the one end that was damp enough for it to grab, jabs down into your arm. You take 2 points of harm as you are stabbed in the arm by this branch.
I am now unstable.
Did you take any kind of armor or anything?
I have no armor.
Okay, you all watch Brett take this, and this branch is sticking out of his arm as he grabs it and continues to go climbing up. Who is the next one to do something as you try to get to the top of this mountain?
Yankees! It's just... Yankees he'll fit nunchucks.
Okay,
And so...
you got options. So are you trying to hurt the
I could go-
ghosts, or are you trying to proceed up the mountain / protect your allies?
Yeah, what could go wrong? Or, you know what? I feel like this would be more... I want to say what could go wrong, but...
No,
act
what
under
could go
pressure.
wrong for
I-
that +2 act under pressure makes perfect sense.
Yeah, act under pressure.
Okay, so then you're trying to gain progress up the mountain more so than damage these things. Go ahead and
Yeah.
roll.
I think it's more acting under pressure, just more for his. So is it +2?
Yep, so it's plus your cool and then also plus
That's
2.
not cool. Oh, 11.
11, absolutely fantastic. What this buys you, you buy the group some time to breathe. You grab injured Brett, and with your free hand, as you knock the ghost that stabbed him away with nunchucks, it falls backwards. You grab Brett and start dragging him up, despite the pain, so that he doesn't flag behind. As everybody else pushes up with that success, Spencer's not here right now. I'll say that the main effect this will have is Brett will not be unstable. You bind his arm and pull him up the way, and that is our second success. I will be candid. I'm tracking our successes here to get up the mountain. Who wants to take the next big action? More of these things are starting to crawl up. You see caves, these like little spots, like, you know, cave divers would take to go under the mountain. Some of them must have streams flowing underneath, as you see more of these specters pulling themselves out of these narrow passages. Who's up next?
I'll go. I'll be looking for marks or trail markers, something kind of pointing the way to where we're trying to get.
Absolutely.
As the guide.
Gotta be plus sharp.
Plus sharp.
Does he get help because Ed and Brett are taking the back line, so he has some time, not under pressure?
A strong argument. I'll give you the +1.
Okay. That is a 9.
You see with 7 to 9, read a bad situation. What's my best way in? You see a clear path. You see the maintenance markers, which are different than the trail markers. They are more direct, leading where you need to go, rather than trying to find like the trail that goes closest. You see the markers that maintenance people would use to go up to the top, and you call everybody's attention to it and start to book it up the trail, moving quicker, flowing your way up. You guys are continuing to make progress. Ed is binding your wound, Brett, as you rip that stick out and bind up your arm with maybe some ripped shirt, maybe some actual, first aid if anybody has any. I'm gonna definitely swing it over to Branch. I saw you kind of think about something. What is it?
I guess with like the kind of like the way clear and the path forward now, I think kind of like taking the rear of the group, I'm gonna be like kind of tapping into the magic again and like pressing my hand against each, like either like brushing the leaves of the shrub or pressing my hand into the branches or the trunks of the trees. And I'm gonna be like just thinking of like drink deep and stuff, like so that they all try to like activate their roots to like absorb as much moisture as they can around here.
Stefan, your deep need to be a druid in every setting. I need you to know I appreciate the hustle of it. Yeah, use magic. It's so interesting. I think does work in this situation. I think we have this moment of like panic and connection, and you look down. Go ahead and make that roll.
All right. Oh, nice. 13.
13. You guys have rolled incredible this session. I love this because I don't know if everybody knows that this is a trope in like horror serials, is like, and now there's magic. What? It's season 2 and we kind of ran out of things in season 1, and so there's magic now. Okay, like you get no explanation, no feedback. I love it. Reaching down, I mean, I think it feels kind of like you're borrowing a place from a certain type of creature in a pretty real way. You reach down into the ground and you all watch these creatures as if they are going through deep mud. Their next steps sink unnaturally into the ground, pulling up and reaching out. One of them grabs onto the branch of a tree, and you see their hands start to seep into the branch. The forest craves moisture, and these things start to be bogged down. They are not stopped, they are just slowed. But That was the number of successes that you needed. As you all climb out, breaking out of the tree line, Clark, with a heave of relief, you see the top of this vent. It is this large sort of corrugated steel topper with this concrete platform. You know that for the longest time it was, stone with wood slats, but it was replaced a few years ago. Come to think of it, your father really spared no expense having it replaced. And these thoughts start to fill your mind. As you all scramble up, you see that there's this large grate over the top of it. It's held down by its weight. It's one of those circular ones that's made to not fall in because, that's boring. So it's going to take a pretty heavy feat of strength or some other thing to get it out of the way. But as you look down in, you can see the moonlight now. It's like 2 a.m., 1:32 in the morning. The moon high in the sky. I don't, if you're in the comments like, actually in 1976 in Massachusetts, the moon would have been at shush. The moon high in the sky casts an eerie column of light down into the vent. And you can see far below the glint of that white sun-bleached wood of the raft at the bottom. You see now, you were seeing bits and pieces of it. You see the shattered form of the raft, sort of exploded view, the way that it is. You see that most of it is shattered up against a outcropping of stones, the place where probably they were working when the water breached through. And it occurs to you as you look down, seeing it so clearly, they knew. And maybe that feeling fills you as you look down. What do you guys do? This thing is in the way. You're going to have to pull this massive, cover out of the way unless you can think of something else to do. The gaps between are, these little tiny diamonds of shape. What do you do?
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I want to try and find a nice tree nearby to tie this rope to.
Okay, Branch says, good luck, turns and runs for a tree. You don't need to roll to find a tree in a forest, Branch. You run and start tying off that rope. Spencer, you seem like you're about to say something.
Clark, how tough is that club you got? You think it's pretty sturdy?
I mean, it's stood the test of time till now.
Shove the head of it into the slats there, and we're gonna try and use it for leverage.
I'm gonna use this thing as a wedge. This ain't a wedge, it's a 9-iron.
Yes! That's what we do it for, baby! Yes, the quip of the episode. This isn't a wedge, this is a 9-iron as you jam it down into the edge. Absolutely phenomenal. Go ahead and roll plus tough, obviously, Clark. Brett, I assume you're rolling to help out.
Yeah.
Ooh. I ran out of drink a little while ago. And all right. Help out. Roll plus cool. Brett.
7.
7 to 9. You grant +1, but you expose yourself to danger or risk. You go to help when you start to hear shuffling, and you turn and you see some of these things starting to pour out of the tree line, and then you hear a noise from behind you, and you look over, and on the grate, you see that there is this thin layer of moisture across the top of the grate and the dirt of the inside, and you watch one of their hands pass through the grate as it goes to lift itself up and out. You turn, Brett.
Spider here?
Oh my God, there is a spider. Wild. Brett, you spark a Roman candle and go to enter combat with this specter that is about to attack Clark. You notice all of the specters. You guys, when you're in the way, get attacked, are sort of pointed towards Clark. As you get ready to fend them off, Clark, you get a +1. What's the result?
I got 12.
What is going on? What is going on?
2 5s, +1.
You cling. Pull back on this, and the great gets pulled off to the side, just enough to make a gap as you pull it out of the way. Brett, these things begin to descend on you. You're going to have to react. What do? You see that same injured one, the one that's taken to harm, although I guess, you wouldn't put it that way. And you see the others coming at you from different angles. Are you trying to hurt them? Are you trying to protect Clark? Are you just trying to survive at this point, seeing that Clark has moved the grate? What are you going for?
Brett calls out to everybody else. He says, "Everybody get down there as quick as you can. I'm going to hold them off. I'm going to follow behind you." And he's got his flaming torch on a stick, and he's got the Roman candle. He starts firing as soon as he can, and anything he gets close, he starts swinging. So I am protecting, I think, primarily, so
Okay.
everybody else has a chance to get down.
So in that case, obviously, roll plus stuff to protect someone. While you make that roll, Branch, you're tying a rope to a tree. I have to be honest, I have forgotten why you wanted to do that.
So we have a rope to rappel down into the thing.
Absolutely perfect. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to say no roll required for that. It seems like it's well within your sort of wheelhouse for your character. You lash this rope around and tie it. As the grate gets pulled out of the way, you throw the rope down. You guys will be able to like rappel down a little bit to fire these fireworks down at this place to try to burn away what is left of these things down here. Ed, what are you up to in this scene as Brett turns flaming torch in one hand and starts grabbing Roman candles and firing them off into the crowd of these ghosts? He's thinking, he's pondering. His shaggy senses are tingling. There must be something. It's okay if you want to pass. If your response is, I don't know, that's okay.
Honestly, don't do that. Let's get out of it. Maybe too much. The power of heart.
All right, you're helping.
I was like, ooh, is it more of a teenage thing to run for it? But you know what? Given everything he's done so far, the power of heart, baby.
Okay, so you're helping Brett, I assume.
Yes.
How do you help? Because it's automatic. You're the mundane. Just tell me how you're helping. Is it encouraging words? Is it nunchucks and knives? How do you help?
He goes in with nunchucks and wiener.
You turn.
He chucks the wiener as a distraction, and then pulls the nunchucks, trying to find out where he put the knives on his back, and just.
We see a montage of fond memories of Ed and Rob, best friends since their younger years, and misty tears filling Ed's face. Brett, you are surprised as he, nunchucks in hand, dashes ahead and starts attacking these ghosts, throwing knives. Ed, I mean, you automatically succeed on your help someone. If you would like to also roll to kick some ass or something, you certainly can.
Why not?
I watched you
get 5. We're gonna ignore that.
Oh, we're not ignoring anything. You watch Ed look at you, Brett.
He throws a sausage
and nod knowingly. You get a +1 and watch him run into these things head first, swinging out with nunchucks, throwing knives. Ed, you take 2 points of harm, and as you waylay into the combat, Brett, you have a +1 to your roll.
I rolled an 8, but I'm going to burn one of my plot points.
Oh, that's true. Ed, don't forget, you also have those plot points to burn if you want that.
You know what? I'm gonna save it for later.
Okay,
because
just
the
in case. I like it.
The comedy of it.
Brett, this is your second?
Second one. Yeah, I've got one left after this.
All right. Ed, you watch Ed dash into the combat, into the melee, as you are rolling to protect the group. You start to lighting these things. You burn that second point. I guess it's not first blood. If you had a different horror trope, you could take one. If not, it'll just be a pretty serious, it'll leave a mark, kind of scar.
I think that the second one will be No Way Out. The grate closes as long as Branch and Clark have made it through. I don't know if that's what they're doing. But, well, I guess that's a question. Branch and Clark, are you guys going down into the
Seems like
raft
the plan.
area?
Yeah, I am.
So I take it the two of you have a couple of fireworks on you. to take care of that
Yeah,
section.
I dispersed those.
As the rope goes down and Ed charges in, Brett, you fire off 2 of these things. One of these creatures lunges up on top of you. You fall back, managing to push it off. But as you fall back into the gray, it clunk, locks into place. The rope isn't cut, but you don't have a way down anymore. You are stuck up here with these things. No way out. With that 12, they are perfectly safe. The attention has been pulled to you and Ed. On a 10 plus, you can also choose an extra. So you protect your friends. Also, you have suffered no harm in this moment. So what I will say is you can reduce the harm to Ed by 1. You can pull all focus of hatred towards you, or you can hurt one of or a few of these specters.
I think I'm going to go with... well, this is a question. Ed, how are you looking on health? Do you only have the 2 damage, or do you have 3 damage now? I think you're at 2.
Yeah, I got 1 more until I'm unstable.
Because they healed that 1 when they set. Healed, in quotes.
Yes.
Kept the minus
Yes,
1.
I got
but
1
everything
more.
else-
So I got 1 more until I'm unstable.
I'm going to go with you hold the enemy back. I run up next to Ed, and I'm just whipping the flaming staff around, keeping them away from the grates.
Real Aragorn moment here as we cut to the 2 people going subterranean, the 2 of you climbing down. You get a few feet down, you're looking into this cavernous ventilation shaft. You see the shattered form of the raft before you. You're all but there. Is it fire? What does this look like? Just describe to me how you try to lay this problem to rest.
How far down is it that we have to get?
So if you're using fireworks, you're already low enough to like fire down at things. As far as how far is everything, I'm gonna have to very quickly double check. I looked it up when I first entered the Imagisphere here, but
I mean, it can definitely be up to a couple 100 feet.
Yeah.
Through the mountain down into this tunnel. I can see that.
I can definitely be like holding onto the rope with one hand, holding a lighter out with another, while you kind of like grab the fireworks, light them, and fire them.
Line up the fuse.
So the deepest in the U.S. is a crispy 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
But most are over. Okay, so most of them are over 100 feet, but not that exponentially large. So the answer is going to be like between 1 and 200 feet. Maybe. Again, if I'm totally off about that math, it's okay. It's a movie. It would be very far. If you guys want to drop a certain distance, there would be some harm involved, but you would get closer. As you are now, you could certainly try to do it from here. The real question is, how are you trying to do it? Like, what is the approach? Is it just firing off these fireworks in a moment of like triumph? Because I want to be clear. You guys made it up the mountain. You've gotten into the cavern. You have what you need. You're pointing it down. Ed and Brett are actively sacrificing them, risking their lives to give you guys this opportunity. This is the climax of this scene as you both go down. I'm just asking, how do the 2 of you work together to make it happen? Hopefully.
I guess, well, Clark, I guess your family sort of started this with darkness. It's time for you to shed some brutal light upon it, as I hand you the fireworks and stuff.
Yep. All right. I tie all the fireworks together.
Yeah.
You start bundling and lashing these incredibly unsafe Roman candles and other things together. You take a loose palmful of M80s and just like jam them in the middle. It's the equivalent of like 3 sticks of dynamite now.
And you know how fireworks have like that stick that fires off of? I shoved one was like in the wall pointing down, and I light a match.
Mirror up, pung, stick it into the wall.
Sorry.
Branch, roll to help.
All right, that is
Plus cool in this situation, unless you want to make an argument for something else.
no. All right, that is a 9.
Absolute rocks. You see that it is a little bit off. As Clark, you go to light it, you realize that it might not be quite aimed, and reach out to grab the cluster and point it a little bit more directly as you see it starting to slip, something that misses Clark's notice. Clark, roll with a +1.
Yeah, I light it. I was like, this isn't for my family.
This will be the 4.
This is for your rest, ghosts.
Love that. This isn't for me. It's for you. Tear, a single tear.
The +1. What am I rolling?
It's got to be act under pressure.
Yeah.
Cool.
We said that at
Sweet.
exactly the same time.
That's an 11.
With an 11.
Nice.
Oh, this huge bundle launches down with a lot of like sparklers and whistles and like Branch, you do take 1 point of harm from the fire as you have to grab the firework bundle. Your hands are singed as this thing it erupts at the bottom of the tunnel, shaking the ground around you all. You see splinters of wood and ash off in different directions. You see something else as well. At the spot where it hits, where the raft was wedged into the wall, the place where they struck water all those years ago, springs of water start to launch out from the side of the wall, and you watch eyes wide as the entire wall, about 60 feet below you, starts to cave in, water flooding down into this vent and also into the Centennial train tunnel. It's a good thing that no trains have gone down that tunnel in a while. As water starts to flow down in and the two of you start to climb back up the branch, Brett and Ed, you are in the melee. One of you swinging a torch. Ed, you swinging a salami to fend back these ghosts. The greasy oils of Italian delicatessen meat keeping them at bay. You watch all of their forms stop. And like a breeze blowing mist off the top of the lake in the early morning, these specters just vanish from sight in front of you. And then you hear Branch and Clark calling for help as the vent shaft starts to fill with water.
Oh shit, Ed, help me grab the grate.
Running over to grab
2.5 arms.
With it being the time that it is, for the sake of brevity, as much as I would love to make you guys stress a whole bunch more, with the specter vanished, Brett and Ed, the two of you together, 3 arms between the two of you, managed to lift the lid just enough for Branch and Clark to climb their way out. As you all lay down on the other side, catching your breath, you lean up against the cool concrete of this capstone and watch as off on the other side of the lake, the sun slowly starts to rise as dawn has arrived, and you look down to see the burning remains of a bunch of canoes and vegetable oil across the top of the lake. That boat race is not happening today. And Clark, it occurs to you, if I'm getting my numbers right here, that the reason your dad was so mad, you remember in this moment, Gerald Ford is going to be at the boat race this year. As you see the presidential limo coming around the outside at this like 4 a.m. thing, you all catch your breath. And we watch a little montage of different scenes. We see the panic at the camp the following day as a bunch of drunk campers awaken to realize that they have ruined the boat race, and by extension camp is going to be real weird the rest of the summer. We watch as I'll ask Clark, do you break the news of this 100-year-old tragedy, or does this secret die with these ghosts?
Secret dies.
Clark, wanting to let these things rest, not wanting to drum up these old things, knows that, the vengeance has been had. There is no need to drum up more drama around it. Lets the secret lie. Elias falls on financial very hard times in the next few years. Camp Findale will recover sometime in the early 2000s, maybe, but for the next 10 or 15 years, well into the 80s, people will be fucking terrified of that lake, with stories of the raft and other things echoing out. You all saw it. So did the Bad Boys 3 a couple of times, having them so close to the lake. And Clayton Duggan saw his fair share of spectral nonsense. Rumors will abound forever about the haunting of this lake. Maybe sometime, we'll play Summer Camp Slasher 2076. Maybe we'll take a brief look into the future for the Tricentennial.
Oh, yeah.
Findale Massacre 2.
We see some scenes of Ed Green, arm in a full cast, eating a cartoonishly large cheeseburger at a local diner. We see Brett, a bag over your shoulder, making your way back home, somehow acquitted. You manage to sneak through this just right to not get into any trouble. Xavier manages to get off scot-free by pleading insanity. And goes largely uncontested. Branch, you, having been such an authority in this moment and kept so many people safe, will probably earn your fair share of accolades, having kept people safe when the lake caught on fire. And Clark, I imagine there is no small solace to be taken in what you did today, as far as bringing some peace to the people that your family has harmed, albeit that peace was delivered by a large rocket fired down a ventilation shaft into a train tunnel. But, I think we all hope that we can do something that is good and also awesome. So I bet Clark sleeps pretty good.
Yep, 9 iron under the pillow.
Woo! With that is the end of Scheduling Conflicts Presents Summer Camp Slasher. Boys, we did it. I love Monster of the Week. You can tune in at the same time on Tuesdays, 8 to 11 typically, right? 8 to 10:30. Normally you will be watching The Party Makes Things Worse Haven, which should, fingers crossed, finally be back next week. If it isn't, I'll think of some other garbage for us to do. You can also tune in on Thursdays to DM Writer's Room, where Spencer, Michael, and I demystify the DMing process and work on some fun prep stuff live with trying to incorporate the ideas the audience provides. On Sundays, you can tune into Game Masters, Masters of Games. We are right now playing Baldur's Gate 3 as the Big Boy Squad. It's been pretty fun. We will try to rep some other people in every now and again when we get the chance. Michael's recovering from a long illness, and so we will be back on that horse shortly, which should be huge. Audio for this stream is by White Bat Audio on YouTube. This is their John Carpenter Retro Synth Mix. I have to say that, otherwise we are not contractually allowed to use it. Gosh, that has to be everything, right?
TikTok, baby.
TikTok,
Follow us on
no!
Subscribe on YouTube, and you can follow us on Twitch as well.
And of course, Drive Through RPG, our first product, is out in the form of Lich's Dollhouse. Go buy that if you haven't already. I think it's pretty sick, and we are working on the second Void's Eye Observatory. Why is there so much stuff to say at the end of the stream? All right.
We do a lot.
We do.
Yes.
Everybody, have fun, be safe, enjoy your summer, and stay out of the lake.